Hello everyone, welcome to our BGA panel on the fascinating questions we have. Who are we really? Who are you in the Web3 space, in a space where your wallet might be your passport, your handle, your flag, your on-chain history, your resume, identity is really no longer just a login. It's a playable assets, living playable assets. And we're going to dive into that, how identity and reputation are being reimagined across game and the creator ecosystems. And very happy to again gather the BGA gang, the BGA family, to talk about that. We have interesting and it's super insightful conversation ahead with the three speakers we have with us, all developing different things, but on the same topic of identity we're going to talk about. So it's going to lead us with a lot of insight, hopefully a conversation as well. But before that, I would love our speakers to just introduce themselves. So yeah, let's go. I'm Gherardo. Welcome. Could you introduce yourself? What is Freename?
Absolutely. So I'm Gherardo. I'm head of business development of Freename. We are a registrar. We provide domains on both markets, so traditional Web2 and Web3. We are multi-chain. We power several namespace for many communities, ecosystem, and we are part of the BGA fam. So happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, and a lot of tractions happening on your side. We're going to talk about that, especially with one of our members and actually co-president of the BGA, Sebastian Borget, ambassador of the Sandchain, and you announced very exciting things in Singapore a few weeks back. So we're going to start the conversation from that. But before that, Apoorv from Glyph Network, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me here, Flav. So, hi, I'm Apoorv Shanka, a co-founder of Glyph Protocol. We are a cross-chain private identity protocol, which is aimed to improve engagement and retention for Web3 applications and drive the next set of user acquisition by building on-chain user persona, by linking wallets across chains together using privacy tech. So the linking stays private, and at the same time, the users and the applications get the benefits of cross-wallet and cross-chain personas. Thank you.
So in every gaming ecosystem, you need to understand your players. But when you involve on-chain activities, what does it mean exactly? And I think through the YGG use case we're going to go through, and that you actually led a few time back. I think it's super interesting, and I had the chance to have a look at it. It's not just about that, but I think it's a very good start to talk about how you help those games and a gaming ecosystem and community. So thanks for being with us today. And last but not least, Ryan, happy to have you with us. Could you do the same and introduce yourself and just a name?
And thanks, Flavien. Yeah, I'm a co-founder of Just a Lab. We develop identity and wallet solutions. Just a Name is an ENS protocol-based identity development tooling. So what we do is enable any company to deploy their own branded namespace on ENS protocol. So that's the type of things that you see with Coinbase.cb.id or Uniswap name.uni.eth. And yeah, we work with a few brands across EVM and non-EVM now as well. So that's the intros.
Awesome. And so, as I said, looking forward to this conversation because you all achieved different things, and but all tied to the topic we have today. So that's very exciting. I can start with exactly what I said before, like free name. You announce two announcements into one, I'd say, but Sandchain, so Sandbox, we know this gaming ecosystem with a lot of different gaming experiences tied to the Sand token actually announced their own chain, which is Sandchain. And Freename was a big part of this announcement. So I would love you to guide us into this announcement. What does it mean from the perspective of Freename, and how Freename is actually helping to set up these creator nation that the Sandbox slash Sandchain would like to create and build.
So for us, it's a pleasure to be part of this massive release. It's a great update for the Sandbox ecosystem and for all the creators economy. We team up during Singapore, during Token 2049. we did that massive events together where we basically announced the release of the identity layer of Sandchain. We are going to release the .send, and we basically enabled everyone who came to the event that day to secure their early access to claim their name .send. We did some funny merchandising. We did that custom and limited edition cards. Hope you, Flav, you got one. I don't remember if. Okay, good to know.
I didn't, but I saw that.
Yeah, and no, so basically what we are doing, there are some interesting logic and mechanism that I cannot disclose yet, but we are going to release pretty soon the .send. It's going to be on mainnet once there's going to be Sandchain mainnet next year. And it will be accessible on also several networks. It has some interoperable feature, and it will be the ultimate on-chain digital identity for the creators that are hanging out, the Sandbox and the Sandchain ecosystem. So we are going to release more information pretty soon.
So how would you explain, not specifically through these partnership collaboration, but maybe you can, how this is actually explaining the vision of Freename? What do you want to achieve with Freename, and or how do you want to bring a new layer of identity in our world through the use of Freename?
So we started almost 3 years ago as a Web3 native namespace, meaning we provide communities, individuals, ecosystem with their branded TLDs. TLDs stand for top level domains. Basically everything after the .eth or .com. That's a TLD. So everyone with Freename have access to their own namespace, and we empower them, our customers and our partners, to have their own branded identity that they can use it on chain with multi-chain capabilities, so EVMs, but not only. So we are also active on Solana. They can leverage our infrastructure. So we have a browser extension for people that wants to send and receive tokens, NFTs using their identity. Plus, we have a few partners, several partners actually, that integrated our identity layer. Lastly, last week we released a big partnership with Bitcoin.com, so everyone can start using their domains to transfer their asset. And few months ago, we released also the Web2 registrar. So basically, everyone can also purchase traditional domains like .com, .xyz, .io, and so on. But that's not all. Thanks to our infrastructure, we enable the tokenization of those names, or the regular DNS, so that people can actually use their .com, for example, as a wallet. They can bring their traditional domains on chain and use it as we use ENS and other Web3 domain.
Love it. No, and we're going to talk about that, how these TLDs is actually changing the way we see identity and domain, and how it could be used from community of creators, but any type of communities. So we're gonna go through that later. And so with you, Apurv, like as I said, the YTG case study actually was very powerful and insightful, because it was based on this question about, do you actually know your players or your communities? And from the perspective of YGG, which is maybe the biggest community of players, stakeholders in the Web3 gaming space, it's actually super interesting to have these views. So in your study, you basically said you are misreading who your real players are. If we apply that to identity, what are most games getting wrong about who deserved reputation today?
Right. So yes, really interesting questions. So see, how most games are giving reputation right now is they give reputation to the loudest wallets which are out there in the ecosystem, not the most valuable players or users. Most money which is going out is spent on Sybils and airdrop hunters and not actual players. And that is why games see a huge drawdown the moment they launch their token and they start onboarding users. They reward who minted earliest, who spent the most in one single burst in a single campaign, or who holds the shiny NFTs, etc. But the reward are very rare to the ones which are coming back after a wipe, after the rewards end, or when the hype has died, or the players who are bringing their friends, their referrals on and keeping them active by in terms of playing with them or like engaging them further, or who is playing across the ecosystem, not just into one title or just one game, and not just one reward cycle. From what we did for with YGG, the pattern was very clear. The studios were overfitting to campaign tourists and underweighting the career players. So most games are effectively saying right now the reputation is equal to the um, snapshot of what you have held at a point of time, and not your story, what you have been doing across the ecosystem. So it has. So what needs to be done is the reputation should be timeline based and not a snapshot based. Identity protocols need to flip that, and that is exactly what we're doing at Glyph, building those rails which can enable games to identify how their player is behaving, not inside only their own ecosystem, but across ecosystems and chains and through different wallets. Because we are living in 2025 and every single user has multiple wallets across multiple chains. You cannot define a user persona by looking at one wallet. And like we strongly believe, which you also said earlier, that no business can grow without understanding their customer, their user. So that is what you're trying to do.
Love it. Look, I was actually writing some notes because it just helped me with a lot of questions which should target to all of you, and I think all of you will have the answers based on what you said, like the financial stakes in the ecosystem, this cross portability we're going to talk about as well, because we are very much into a fragmented ecosystem with all the chains we know. Though that just remind me of questions we could ask. But before that, just to know a little bit more about just the name and what you do, Ryan. Like, question I may have with you is maybe about the vision you have as a company and how you would like to translate that vision into actual product and services. Like, what turns a random wallet, a random identity in Web3 into a recognizable, the high signal persona across games? How you actually can classify who is who based on the random wallet you could actually identify, analyze on your side. And maybe the question suggestion to that is really based on how you why a wallet is actually full of data, full of information you would like to use, or you would like ecosystem to be used correctly.
Right. So wallets in Web3 are really on the backbone of the infrastructure, how users are interacting with chains, with dApps, with the ecosystem in general. The first where we introduced identity for us was it's very complicated for normal internet consumers to use a wallet because it starts with the 0x D3. I'm using an EVM format here. But the wallet addresses are extremely complicated. And very often you see there is massive amounts of money. This is data backed that are lost because people mistype these complex addresses. It's also very impersonal and just generally cryptic, complicated. So the first time we saw that used is, well, we heard about ENS and the .eth names, but especially we saw that Coinbase was using for its wallet onboarding things like, say, ryan.cb.id, and we wanted to understand how does this work. And so we figured that under a domain, you can just issue Web3 usernames very easily, and that can even be hybrid on-chain, off-chain. So where we really, first it was a UX problem that we wanted to solve. And then we figured that eventually it's also your identity carries data with you, and especially with DNS, you get that programmable profiles. Programmable identity enables you to list whatever metadata that is interesting about the user, and that metadata can be controlled by the users. It's technically owned by the user. So users, that when you say that, all know that on Google, Facebook, there's a lot of data that is flying about you, and this is pretty much the reason that everything is for free as an end users, is you are the product. You and your data is what they monetize on the platform. And so with Web3, we figured that that data could be used for personalization within an app, within an ecosystem, but also still keep that control in the hand of the user. And so what do they want to share with the brand, and what does a brand can customize to better serve the user in terms of product experience? I think another, yeah,
No, go ahead.
the other layer is also what do you want to, how much do you want to use reputation? That really starts with verifiable credentials. So what does an identity is technically in the definition? It's a bunch of claims that are verified, that can be verified. And that opens a lot of doors. This is also why we went with the NS protocol, is because everything is programmable, and under one namespace you can really customize the experience or your take on identity that you want with a very dominant protocol for identity.
I like what you said. I don't know, and I think that's going to be a question for all of you three, because when I joined the Web3 world, the blockchain world, obviously these ethos of stop letting Google and the others think that you are the product was actually one of the reasons I joined this ecosystem and wanted to learn more. And I feel like we lost a little bit of that vision along the year for many reasons, maybe because of I would say an influx of interest coming from the financial world. What do you think? Like, do you still think that we should stand about that vision of removing these monopoly of data coming from the big companies that we all know, and still stand from do you think we all obviously have the not only the ecosystem but the infrastructure you are all building, like just a name, but also Freename, Glyph as well. Do you feel like we are ready for it, to claim that we can stand against that and claim our data and make the best use of it and have the ownership of it? Like, do you feel like we should follow this vision again? And who are we in that vision right now? I don't know if Ryan, you want to iterate on you.
Start with it's pretty to be very honest, it's things take time, especially with decentralized software. It is slower than the speed that you'll see in Web2 today. I think you to have this at scale and to really challenge completely what you have, the data models that you have with the user data models that you have with Facebook, Meta, Google, is still pretty early. You have a lot of primitives that are still missing. There's a lot of pieces of infra that are yet to be built. I think right now when we push this, it's still very much about people just want a name that they can use. So now you're starting to have use cases like email. You can have your decentralized websites. There is a few reputation solutions that are, and I can touch base on that later, but interoperable reputation system. Often you have like things like talent protocols, for example, but this is more for builders. Scans your GitHub, your socials, like what is your reputation online. But this is very early, the real numbers are not that many users. So as I still say, it is a vision that we need to keep building for, but it's going to take a few more years before you see Google, Facebook challenge. But it is the idea. First, it's with Bitcoin, we're decentralizing money, Ethereum, then, and I'll tell one smart contract platform, or decentralizing software. identity will come as well. It's going to be slow.
Gerardo, what do you think?
I 100% agree with Ryan, to be honest. So I personally would love to go towards a more fully decentralized direction. This is something that me, alongside most of the people active in Web3 and in crypto, they really would like to see, and so I am. I think we are standing in a point where we would like to see we are in a meeting point, so we would like to have to provide the centralized feature to our customers. I think especially the part of transaction and that financial part that blockchain leverage, that part should be almost fully decentralized. I would say fully decentralized, to be honest. And it makes so much sense. This is why also Web3 domains and Web3 identity. People should be able to have their wallet attached to their name in a fully decentralized way. There is also the chance, as also Ryan mentioned, to have a decentralized website via IPFS or decentralized emails. We cannot be fully decentralized also because we need, at least for our business plan and business model and our product, we also have a specific pipeline for DNS for the traditional domains. So DNS works in a completely different way of blockchain. So let's say we would like to locate ourselves in the middle, where those customers that wants to go fully decentralized, we would like to providing them with a solid infrastructure to do that. But at the same time, we also want to respect the DNS, and we want to onboard those customers, those users that are not really crypto friendly wallet users. Actually, I would say 30-40% of our customers, they didn't even know what a wallet was, MetaMask and so on. So again, as Ryan said, this is a long process, a long-term process. So I would like to stay in the middle, let's say.
Yeah, agree with you. Like, oh yeah, Apoorv, you wanted to add something. Go ahead.
Like, I strongly believe in what you say, that over the course of years since the cypherpunk revolution was there, and like Satoshi made Bitcoin, Satoshi himself mentioned that if something existed which could make transactions on Bitcoin private, that would be great. And much was done, much was being done since then. And over the course of, like, I think our last 5-7 years, we all lost the essence of even on-chain privacy. The entire goal of building networks which were decentralized and give freedom, the entire ethos of the cypherpunk revolution just went away. And that was majorly because of the financial benefits which people started chasing, apart from the ethos which built Bitcoin, which started the entire revolution. And like now millions of people are using it for multiple purposes. And I see that a lot of projects now are getting back to it, trying to bring privacy back into their applications, their protocols. And that is what we strongly believe at Glyph. Even on-chain privacy has become a day of past. Like anything can be discovered on-chain in like 2 minutes. So if and aggregating wallets or linking cross-chain activities for the user, when that's happening, that should also be done in a private way. Like if the user is not aware that what privacy means, because the user needs to be educated due to the course of their usage, what privacy exactly means. If they don't mean, the application and the protocols which are building in this space should be mindful enough that they build the tech in such a way that first of all educates the user about privacy and then maintains it at the same point. So I think, yeah, it's very important, and we have a long way to go, but yes, we are moving in that direction for sure.
everything is on chain, everything is very visible. It's all about transparency, but at some point you need some sort of privacy. And one of the questions I have for you, Ryan, how do you draw the line between the meaningful credentials and the kind of vanity badges or any kind of, things you could acquire on your behalf or not, because actually you can be assigned a lot of different things just by sending you something on chain. How you do give credibility about the credentials you could get from the government, from anyone, which could bring you values with your Web3 identity.
When you're making identity software, I'd say, can you take action in terms of product experience? Can you trigger some type of loyalty or benefits to the user that is personalized based on what they did? And can you do that with reliability? I think this is from the threshold on being able to have a meaningful identity rather than these small badges. I feel like often see like initially POAPs, for example. You can get a POAP when you go to an event, you issue it, it's on your wallet, but then what's really the use of it? Sometimes they can be useful, but you have to build a whole other layer or the experience manually. I think on top of it, it probably progressed since. I'm not sure, but
So what is your ethos on that? Like, what just a name would like to build based on this perspective of giving clarity about the kind of profile you could get as a player or as anyone with a wallet?
we were building UX solutions. So for us, it was just about abstracting away the complex address with a name, but then we really wanted to enable personalization. So it's basically automation of the content that is shown to the user based on actions that they can take. And so, for example, one of the big problems that we often hear as a pain point with leads or customers is, I want to do an airdrop, but I only want to do it to people who I know or are human. And I want them to also be solid users of my protocol. And so one thing we looked into is, first, well, you can put on any socials, emails can be fake. So one of the solution we built first was just verify, called it, and it enables you to embed into the a proof that the socials, your X handle, your Discord handle, GitHub accounts are indeed whatever you listed is actually yours. This was one layer that, and we will see that with Gitcoin Passport, with Self, now that used to be Open Passport, is they would have this humanity score, and typically it's how many of these accounts did you prove of yours? Did you take some specific action on chain? That is the data that is related to your wallet, associated to your wallet, and that all together enables you to have a higher score, which, if you have more than 70, then airdrop to that user. That will be just based on identity and credential that you have. Another thing is obviously it's the data. Like, so is my wallet active on your DEX? So one thing that we wanted to enable for some DEXs, for example, is leaderboards. Like pretty large L1 that now, sorry, they have their own chain for perps, was looking to have a leaderboard and a troll box, but they wanted people to really know who is a good trader, who has actually negative badges, like who lost the most money in a month, and that can be stored on your as a badge on your ENS identity. Where I'm going with that is, there's also a bunch that can be done with ZK, but that's a whole other topic, rabbit hole. ZK proof is also not only a way to make trust completely automated on chain, but it also enables full privacy. So here we're going. There is identity, proving that you fit some type of verified claims about you, that you're safe, that you're above 18, that you're from a territory that is allowed to have access to that, citizens are access to have allowed to that website. while not giving necessarily your name. So can I prove that I'm over 18 without giving you my birth date? Or can I prove you that I have access to that benefit from Brazil without actually giving you my Brazilian passport number? Or a lot of the things that we're trying to solve one way or another, or that people are generally trying to solve with identity solutions in Web3.
Do you feel like, based on what you just said, that wallet actually is now could be considered as the base of the ability for any dApps, any applications to incentivize a specific users using the data? Because you said about leaderboards and everything. Do you feel like having the wallet in place is actually the infrastructure helping brands, helping anyone who would like to develop a dApps to incentivize a little bit easier, better with good metrics, data, as you said, but still giving control to the users? Is it easier, you feel like, to incentivize users through the use of a wallet?
It's an interesting question. In theory, in the field of identity, there's a very interesting knowledge think tank, I think it is, organization, DIF. But in theory, identity starts with the identifier first. And then comes to verifiable credentials. Then will come the app or the app layer, where technically you would have the wallet in Web2. But in Web3 today, it is always through the wallet. So I think you can start. I think, for example, with a solution like Freename, you can start by you're buying your own domain. Don't necessarily need a wallet. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't check how it works exactly. But in the common apps ecosystem that you'll find, you need a wallet first, and first that identity, basically we're just putting, or ENS or one of these protocols is just going to put a name. That identifier comes after, so you get it, and then, but it owns its own metadata. So the paradigm is a bit, the way it works technically is a bit different in Web3. So today, yeah, you do, the wallet is kind of the first thing that you do need to. There's another big organization that likes to talk about this. This is where we first saw the term identity wallet being used. It's the Kinexys program before it was Onyx, and that's the blockchain arm of JP Morgan, which is going big discreetly after, talking negatively about blockchain for a while, many years. They've always been building for it also in the background, and they have a massive initiative in tokenizing private assets, and which is at the end of the day very interesting. But they do talk about this, and they go at length about how wallets and identity in Web3, and this is I think pretty solid point of view in the industry, is that wallet and identity go in pair in the decentralized web. How it's going to evolve, I'm not sure, because again, in Web2, they're not necessarily embedded with each other, and the identifier comes first. But yeah, for us, and especially for our company, we work with wallets. We can't work without a wallet, actually.
What's your take at Freename? Like, obviously, and might be a good parallel to say through Sandchain, but how do you see your role in the gamification of any users by having your own identity with Web3? Like, how do you see the wallet and the TLDs and everything being tied to your ability to incentivize your users or incentivize your community to be a part of something?
You don't go anywhere without a wallet. So we give the possibility to name those wallets. You can register your domains, you can tokenize your Web2 domains, and then you can attach into the Web3 records your blockchain addresses. And so then you can attach your name to a wallet. Without a wallet, you won't do much. That's for sure. That's one of what I've been telling every time we attend a lot of events traditional events from the domain industry. We just came back from NamesCon in Miami, and a lot of people, regular users from the DNS world, are like skeptical because they think we are approaching them by saying Web3 is better than Web2, but that's not the point. The point is bringing Web3 technology to Web2 so that they can level up their domains. But and to do so one of the main features the Web3 brings is transaction, and you don't transact much if you don't have a wallet. So the wallet is key. It's always at the center of the entire cycle of the entire experience and the entire ecosystem so far. Um, we give access to our customers to simply use their MetaMask or any other wallets via Wallet Connect, or otherwise we go directly in working with the wallet itself. So with MetaMask, with Consensus, we built an universal snap for MetaMask that resolve our names and other namespace. With Bitcoin.com as well, we provide them our resolution. The resolution, we provide the resolution via API, and the resolution is basically where we index all our names. And if we want to visualize and actually use them, an ecosystem, a app, a wallet needs to integrate the resolution natively. So again, the wallet is key every time, and we aren't interested in building our own wallet for now. Maybe in the future, yes, but because we care about teaming up and do partnership and working every day with all existing wallets out there.
Is it the same for you, Apurv? I mean, but from what I've seen, all the analysis you had with YTG is based on the behavior of the users, actions of the users within the wallets, right? That's how you identify and also categorize the type of users you could actually identify within the YTG ecosystem based on the wallet activity.
So, sorry, I didn't get the question.
The question was about that, I guess, to confirm the kind of feedback takeaway we had from Gherardo and Ryan, which is wallet is key. Obviously, on your side, the analysis was really based on the wallet activities from all the users you identify within the YGJ community.
Right. See, any user, when they're coming onto Web3 games and playing different Web3 games or using any kind of Web3 application, the way they onboard anything is a wallet. But the user sitting behind the wallet can be of doing 10 different things apart from just playing the game. And if, for example, I know that, okay, X user is playing my game and X user is also in Web3 providing liquidity to my token pair at some exchange, and X user is also using some other wallet, is also, for example, flipping some meme coins or flipping some NFTs on some other ecosystem, then I know exactly how can I incentivize this user to stick more. And that is how the wallet becomes the key over here, that it is unifying everything which is happening on chain for the user. So yeah.
Should we fight the misconception, guys? Should we not? Let me know. Should we fight the misconception that wallet activity is only tied or merely more tied to financial activity? It will be a question for all of you, but based on the YGG analysis, the analysis, and please correct me on anything, but is to say we're going to categorize the financial stakes from all the users we have from the YGG community, the wells, the mid-tier, the lower tier, and based on that, we're going to try to understand who we should incentivize in terms of reputation, in terms of our activities, but it's all tied to the financial stakes of these communities. So coming back to the question, should we fight this misconception about saying that Web3 identity is all about money, or should we not?
We should definitely, because see, I mean, at the end, on blockchain, you only see tokens moving. You only see liquidity being provided. You only see rewards being granted. But there is an intent behind all of that. There is an intent behind every single transaction which I'm doing. And that defines my behavior when you zoom out and look at all my transactions, look at all the things which I've been doing. So if you see a user has been moving tokens, it's just like I sent 100 tokens to one wallet from the to the other wallet. But if you zoom out and look at my 20 transactions, then instead of saying that X A 0x ABC did 20 transactions and transferred 1,000 tokens in together, but what you'll see is I am a mid net worth user who occasionally plays FPS games and keeps following the strategy of a particular guild or a particular studio on these specific chains. I survive majority of the drawdowns, and then I participate in governance sometimes. So when you understand that, that is that, then you don't just see financial transactions, you see actual signal, and you know exactly how to retain me better. And once you retain one user better, and you can draw down the personas of multiple wallets which are interacting with your protocol, you can understand the behavior of all of them. So yes, it's not just financial transactions. Every single every single transaction on blockchain signifies intent, and all those intent combined signifies behavior. And if any project understands behavior, that they are meant to win because they understand the customer then.
I love this. Gerardo, on your side, I wouldn't say, and again, correct me on that. The thing we see, obviously, to explain and to onboard a lot of users into Web3 through Freename, the one thing you actually highlight is your ability to have a name behind a wallet, so you can actually send something crypto. So always related to financial stakes or to money. So same question for you: should we fight this misconception, or at the end of the day, it's also Web3 identity is pretty much tied to your financial abilities?
But I think, Apurv, basically, from each transaction, we can understand the behavior of our customer or of the users, and the behavior can be more towards a financial direction if you see that they are aiming to trade, to stake, to do those type of activities that people can do on the blockchain. But at the same time, we can see other type of transaction from a collector perspective, when we see people trying to be eligible to get some to do some specific claim of an artist, or of an IP brands, or as Sandbox, we see a lot of transaction where people do specific activities, from minting a skin, an emote. So I think obviously there is no a better place than blockchain for financial activities, and we see most of the behavior on chain is leading there. But at the same time, I see an entire creators economy, gaming ecosystem that can happen on chain, and not all transactions are towards a financial direction. On we empower the people to have their ID, to have their name, to try to use the same X handle, Twitter handle on chain, to name their wallet. So wherever they use it to transact, because they are buying a meme coin, or they are buying an NFT, or that this is up to again the behavior of the user. But I think we are pretty aligned with what Apurv just said.
Awesome, Brian. I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
No, these were great answer. What Apurva was saying is exactly how we think about it. It it's same as Gherardo. I'm just fully agree with that. It was a great answer.
Yeah, I agree. I strongly agree with that. Yeah, it was awesome. So maybe at the end, the thing I wanted to ask to you, Ryan, as well, is how to fight um, these what we're seeing in the space, which is so many chains, so many ecosystem. They all want to obviously praise for identity, but from their own ecosystem. So you, which are building the backbone of these and the infrastructure, how do you see the space evolving if everyone wants to actually build their own thing, but at the same time we need to have an identity layer which gather everyone? So how do you see things evolving for the next month, years on that?
Right. So when we use the internet, we don't realize that maybe a bit young, but I think most of you guys same. We didn't see the foundational protocols that the internet, modern internet runs on. Initially, we're probably not alone thinking about things like DNS or the way we use email. That evolved throughout the years. One way that I like to think about it is for us is we decided to focus on ENS protocols, for example. And the reason we went for that naming service, while it still has a lot of competition, is that it's to us it has escape velocity in terms of adoption. If you want the type of an ENS address will be resolved on Google, on a Google browser. It's integrated there. Venmo, PayPal have integrated ENS into their infra as well. So that's naming that base layer that we're building on has been around since 2017, 18. It was pinned off from the Ethereum Foundation. And so I think one of the things that deserves it the most for them is the name Ethereum. But technically, it's also being adopted in L1s that initially wanted to compete with Ethereum. So, for example, ApeChain initially, that's not a very relevant one, but started building their own, going back. Some that I can't really name here, but some of the most major L1s, not Solana. Solana will do whatever they can to have their own stuff, but it's just not working. SNS is just absolutely not working at all. Sui has publicly already announced that they're just gonna start going back from their Sui naming system back to start bridging and building with the NS. So you think that it's about the which primitives that are going to emerge. I think one of these important primitive is ENS, and then it's more about then you have other layers of builders, for example, tokenized domains or whatever. So one that we know well is like the people who do .box. Now today they work with 3DNS, and now you have DOMA protocol, which is very interesting. I think maybe that's something like a topic that I'd love to hear Gherardo on at some point. But they're building with these primitives, and it's really something that is bridging the gap, if you want, with like now GoDaddy of course is part of the ENS whole group also as well, and of integration. So I think it's about you have some standards that need to really become the core primitives of our industry. But it's still things are so early. Like not just a few years ago, you had people still challenging the role of Bitcoin or Ethereum in the industry as something that should stay here. Today, at least Bitcoin is pretty settled. Ethereum, I don't know if they will always be here, but EVM is pretty standard. You know, the EVM technology is something that people will always use. So we need to have some of these big primitives, important primitives, crystallize and be adopted by everyone. How that's going to move, I'm not sure. I think today you have a good chance that the ENS protocol will be one of these just like the core, the first layer of naming service. I think it is dominant. it's an open source, not for profit, so that technically you don't really need to compete with it. You just need to use it, plug it, and push it to the masses, or create the business use cases for it. But yeah, I think it's mostly about, you need the core Legos, primitive Lego of the industry to mature and see what people can build with it, to see what's going to stick. But I think, again, we're very early, which makes everything very complicated for our industry.
Yeah, it does. But I really appreciate you saying that. I think that's a strong move, and it's actually a strong stake, and something we need to remember. Like, we need to rely on standards, like everything which is already happening on internet. And I really appreciate that take for sure. Thank you guys for. I know that we didn't cover everything we wanted, but I think we're going to cover that through another format, because you actually. I think there are topics you actually mention and you take over on your side, which I think we should let it out. So I think we're going to work on other format for sure. But I really do appreciate your time for the 1 hour we had. A little bit messy for the first time, but I'm sorry about that. But really appreciate your time, and it's just the beginning of the kind of educational format we're going to do on these identity layer topics we want to talk about. So I really appreciate your time again, and I wish you a very good end of the week. Definitely not, but end of the day for most of you, I guess. So yeah, thanks again, guys.